In the picturesque town of Crestwood, nestled in the rolling hills of the countryside, lived a young woman named Sarah Mitchell. Crestwood was known for its charming cottages, blooming gardens, and a strong sense of community. It was a place where everyone knew each other's names and looked out for one another. Sarah and her husband, David, had recently moved to Crestwood, hoping to start a new chapter in their lives. Sarah, at 25, was a bright and ambitious woman who had always dreamed of becoming a mother. She had a successful career as a graphic designer and was known for her creativity and dedication. David, a kind and supportive partner, worked as an engineer and was equally excited about the prospect of starting a family. The couple had been eagerly awaiting the arrival of their first child, a baby boy they planned to name Ethan. Ethan was born on a crisp spring morning, and Sarah and David were overjoyed to welcome their son into the world. The first few weeks were filled with the typical challenges of new parenthood, sleepless nights, constant feedings, and diaper changes. Despite the exhaustion, Sarah was determined to be the best mother she could be. However, as the weeks turned into months, Sarah began to feel overwhelmed by the demands of caring for a newborn. The sleepless nights took a toll on her mental and physical health, and she found herself struggling to cope with the relentless responsibilities of motherhood. She felt isolated and disconnected from her friends and family, who seemed to be moving forward with their lives while she was stuck in a never-ending cycle of feeding, changing, and soothing Ethan. David, who was working long hours to provide for the family, tried his best to support Sarah, but he too was exhausted and stressed. The couple's once strong and loving relationship began to show signs of strain, and Sarah felt increasingly alone in her struggles. As the months passed, Sarah's feelings of overwhelm and isolation deepened. She began to experience intense bouts of anxiety and sadness, and she found it difficult to bond with Ethan. The joy she had once felt at the prospect of motherhood was replaced by a crushing sense of inadequacy and despair. Despite her efforts to seek help, Sarah was met with dismissive attitudes from some healthcare professionals who chalked her feelings up to the baby blues. The stigma surrounding mental health, particularly postpartum depression, made it difficult for her to find the support she desperately needed. She felt ashamed and guilty for struggling, convinced that she was failing as a mother. The days became a blur of feeding, changing, and trying to soothe Ethan's cries. Sarah's exhaustion turned into a deep, unrelenting fatigue that left her feeling like a shell of her former self. She withdrew from her friends and family, unable to admit the extent of her struggles. The walls of their cozy cottage felt like a prison, and Sarah longed for an escape from the overwhelming demands of motherhood. One fateful evening, after a particularly difficult day, Sarah reached her breaking point. Ethan had been unusually fussy, and nothing she did seemed to calm him. The relentless crying felt like a never-ending assault on her senses, and she was consumed by a sense of helplessness and despair. In a moment of utter desperation, Sarah made a decision that would change their lives forever. Overwhelmed by her emotions and the crushing weight of her mental health struggles, she harmed Ethan, an act driven by her inability to cope with the overwhelming stress and exhaustion. The incident occurred in the quiet confines of their home, away from prying eyes. David returned home to find their son injured and Sarah in a state of shock and panic. He immediately called for emergency assistance, and paramedics arrived to transport Ethan to the hospital. The sight of their tiny, fragile son hooked up to machines was a stark contrast to the joyful moments they had shared as a family. The community of Crestwood was shocked and horrified when news of the incident broke. Sarah was arrested and charged with a grievous crime, her once bright future now overshadowed by the darkness of her actions. Ethan, though injured, survived and was taken into the care of his paternal grandparents, who were devastated by the events that had unfolded. The once close-knit community of Crestwood was shaken to its core. Friends and neighbors struggled to reconcile the Sarah they knew, a loving and dedicated mother, with the one who had committed such an unthinkable act. The court proceedings revealed the depths of Sarah's mental health struggles, shedding light on the silent battle she had been fighting. David stood by Sarah, torn between his love for her and his duty to protect their son. He spoke about the Sarah he knew, the kind and caring woman who had been consumed by an illness she couldn't control. His testimony highlighted the need for greater awareness and support for mental health, particularly for new mothers facing postpartum depression. Throughout the trial, mental health professionals testified about the severity of Sarah's postpartum depression and anxiety. They explained how these conditions, left untreated, could lead to devastating consequences. The case sparked a broader conversation about the importance of mental health support for new mothers, breaking the silence that had long surrounded the issue. Sarah was ultimately sentenced to a psychiatric facility, where she received the treatment and care she had needed all along. Though her actions could never be justified, there was a growing understanding of the circumstances that had led to that tragic night. The community of Crestwood rallied together to support Ethan and his grandparents, ensuring that he would grow up in a loving and nurturing environment. David visited Sarah regularly, their conversations a mix of sorrow and hope. He shared stories of Ethan's progress and the support they were receiving from the community. Sarah, though burdened by guilt, found strength in the knowledge that her son was being well cared for. The psychiatric facility provided her with therapy and medication, slowly helping her to rebuild her shattered sense of self. In the years that followed the tragic events in Crestwood, the town transformed into a beacon of hope and resilience. The memory of Sarah Mitchell's struggles and the harrowing journey of her family became a powerful reminder of the importance of mental health awareness and support. The community embraced a new culture of openness and understanding, breaking down the stigma that had once surrounded mental health issues. Programs were established to provide resources and support for new mothers, ensuring that no one would face the challenges of parenthood alone. Schools, workplaces, and community centers all played a role in fostering a supportive environment where individuals could seek help without fear of judgment. David continued to advocate for mental health, sharing their family's story with others and working tirelessly with local organizations to provide support for those in need. His unwavering dedication inspired many, and he became a respected figure in the community, known for his compassion and determination. Sarah's journey of healing and redemption was a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Though she could never undo the past, she found solace in helping others who faced similar battles. Her courage in confronting her own demons and seeking forgiveness served as an inspiration to many. She became a mentor to other mothers, offering a listening ear and a compassionate heart to those who needed it most. Ethan grew up surrounded by love and care, his resilience a shining example of the power of a supportive community. He thrived under the guidance of his grandparents and the unwavering support of his father. The bonds between the townspeople grew stronger as they rallied around a common cause, determined to create a community where no one felt alone in their struggles. As Crestwood flourished, the story of silent cries, when motherhood becomes too much, remained a poignant reminder of the importance of understanding, compassion, and the critical need for mental health support. The town's transformation was profound, and the legacy of Sarah, David, and Ethan continued to inspire generations. And so, Crestwood thrived, its streets filled with laughter and joy, forever grateful for the courageous deeds of its residents. The story of Silent Cries stood as a testament to the power of community, compassion, and the unbreakable human spirit. The lessons learned from their journey resonated far beyond the town's borders, spreading a message of hope, resilience, and the importance of supporting one another in times of need. Don't miss out on the excitement. Like, share, and subscribe to be part of our vibrant community. Let's embark on this magical journey together and create memories that will last a lifetime. Thank you for being a part of our storytelling family.